is Kayse Budd. I am a holistic psychiatrist, astrologer, artist, and writer. I'm a very unique doctor, so I think that it's nice for me to have this opportunity and this platform to share my unique perspective with people. I really do hope I can help more people this way. So starting with my background, I'm based in Southern California. Right now, I'm based in Georgia on an island due to COVID. So I went to college at Duke. I went to medical school at the University of Michigan. I then matched in pediatrics. Originally, I thought I wanted to be an adolescent medicine doctor. I really love working with teenagers, especially teenage women, especially around issues of body image and self-esteem. So I planned to go that route, and I started out at a really top-notch residency program, the University of Colorado in pediatrics. But a few months into the program, I realized, this is just not what I want to do. I just was not motivated to do general pediatrics or NICU or any of the huge number of really challenging things you have to do to get through general pediatrics. It just wasn't where my heart was. At that point, and really way before then, I was already very interested in integrative medicine. I actually got interested in integrative medicine in college at Duke when I took a Religions of Asia class. And it was so fascinating. I loved all the reading. We read the Tao Te Ching and the Bhagavad Gita and many other things, and I just loved it. I thought it was so fascinating. We also had a lab where we meditated and did yoga and did Tai Chi and Qigong. It was amazing. And then in medical school, I was interested in integrative medicine. It was only early days for integrative medicine, though. It was so much smaller than it is now. I was only one of 2 students at the University of Michigan in my class that were interested. And we actually started an integrative medicine club at the med school. And I chose to go to the University of Michigan in part because they were at least a little bit open to holistic medicine at the time. There was a kind of small Center for Integrative Medicine, Center for Alternative Medicine was actually. And there was also a lot of community support for those things and a lot of community resources. So it was a great place for me, someone coming from the South in a time when there weren't even yoga studios around, to get exposed to that. Even in Ann Arbor at that time, there weren't yoga studios yet. So I was doing yoga and meditating in my apartment with VHS tapes and DVDs, and I was reading all kinds of books aside my medical curriculum in astrology, Chinese medicine, Western herbalism, Ayurveda, shamanism, energy medicine, spirituality, acupuncture, pretty much chakras, anything spiritual that I could get my hands on, crystals, I was reading about. So I sort of had kind of a dual track going on during my medical training, and that was wonderful. And one of the things that happened was I was super stressed out, and I really had a lot of anxiety developed during medical school, and I got irritable bowel syndrome and terrible migraines and hypertension, high blood pressure, and insomnia. And I just had, a number of physical and kind of mental manifestations of stress. I ended up seeing, several different doctors, and they tried to put me on SSRIs and benzodiazepines and various antispasmodics for my colon and, headache medicine and just every Western medicine that's available for those things. But I tried them all, and I felt just terribly altered and just not myself and just uncomfortable taking any of those medicines. So at that point, I decided I really needed to dig even deeper and work harder to apply some of the holistic things that I was learning to myself. So I did that. I became an excellent researcher, and I learned various different herbs for stress and anxiety and sleep and calming the system, kind of like antispasmodics and calming agents, anti-inflammatory agents, antioxidants, things like that. I changed my diet. I got, really committed to my own healing, and I really did help myself significantly. And it was really amazing for me, an amazing testament to the fact that integrative medicine really does work, and it feels much better, and it heals your body from the inside. So I was really committed to integrative medicine, but at the same time, I still had this passion for adolescent medicine, and I ended up pursuing that, thinking somehow I would be able to blend the two in the future. But when I got into my internship, I could no longer see that vision of blending. It just no longer made sense to me. I knew that I already was and was going to be super unique. So I just felt like I needed to broaden my opportunities a little bit. And I also was just kind of confused. I wasn't absolutely positive if I really definitely wanted to be a doctor. My passions were so natural at that point and so psychological that I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I ended up doing something highly unusual, which is to take a month leave of absence 3 months into my internship and really consider my priorities and my values. And after that month, I decided that I just wasn't sure what I wanted still. And I didn't think I had enough motivation to continue, because it's such hard work and such little sleep, such hard work, so much stress, that I just felt like I shouldn't put myself through that without really being committed. I just am so sensitive. I knew it wouldn't be good for me. It would be a repeat of medical school and all the stress related ailments, probably times 10. I decided not to do that. I tried to have courage and believe in myself and honor myself, and I decided that was what I would do. So I quit my internship and I moved from Denver to Telluride, which is a place I've loved for many years and see as one of the most magical little towns in the world, really. So I moved there, and I just decided I was going to heal myself and take time to explore what I wanted to do. So I got a job at a hotel and in a restaurant, and I was really there just to have fun, explore, heal, rest, enjoy. I felt like I had been pushing myself for so many years. Duke was extremely challenging, and studying for the MCATs and getting through med school at a very challenging med school as well. So I just really felt like I needed to play and have fun, and I'd spent like half my 20s trying to study, so I just wanted to relax, ski, make art, write poetry, and explore my interests in terms of holistic medicine. So I was exploring yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, herbalism, spirituality, shamanism, all of those things. What I did know is that I was really interested in yoga. So I ended up leaving Telluride, driving across the country to an ashram I found and I really resonated with, called Yogaville in Virginia. And I lived at this ashram for a little while. I got my yoga teacher certification while I was there, and just immersed myself in the yogic lifestyle, meditating multiple times a day, doing yoga throughout the day, lessons, classes, Ayurvedic food, classes on Ayurveda, spending time in nature, because the ashram's kind of in the middle of nature and like farmland. It was really amazing and peaceful and calming, healing. And eventually, when it was time to leave there, I decided to move back to Colorado. So I came back to Telluride and I started a empowerment program, a yoga and arts-based empowerment program for both teens and adults in Telluride. And I ended up getting a grant to fund the program for teens, which I called Moksha. So it was about, again, I still had this interest in teenage women, so it was about helping teenage women find their path and find their truth and learn about themselves and accept themselves ultimately. So I taught them to meditate, we did some biofeedback, I taught them a lot of positive ideas and perspectives to help them embrace their life as it is, and work on not comparing themselves so much to others, and work on having compassion for themselves as they are, and trusting that this is the life they're supposed to have for their spiritual growth right now. So there was that. There was mandala art creation. There was poetry writing. There was yoga. There was dancing and dance meditation, and a few more special things, some sound healing and so on. And I also created a similar program for adults, men and women, that I ran through the art school there. There's an art school in Telluride. So that was really awesome. But I ultimately felt like, well, this still isn't enough. This is amazing, but I feel like I could help people even more. I feel like, you know, I wanted people from my class to become my one-on-one client. This was pre the whole coaching movement that has taken the world by storm, and I just wasn't even sure it was allowed. I wasn't sure it was ethical. I just wasn't sure about it. So I thought, you know, I need to have a license, and I need to have, you know, some formal foundation that I can use to work with people one-on-one. Right around that time, it was also my Saturn return, which anyone who knows about astrology knows this is around 29 to 30. And you start feeling more of a sense of responsibility and duty and seriousness kind of comes into you. So right around that time, all of that was happening, and I started to think, okay, I guess it makes the most sense for me to return to medicine and use this training before it's too late, and let that be a foundation, and from there I can branch out and do whatever I want. So that's what I decided to do, and before I did that, I went to Peru for 6 weeks and studied in a Spanish immersion school, and I also studied with several different healers in various different parts of the country and explored all over, and it was super magical. So that made a big impact on me, but immediately I had to come back and go from that to moving to Seattle, where I applied to do an internship, number 2, in family medicine at another very competitive program that was it's called Swedish Hospital. So I moved up there and started a very challenging internship full of Harvard grads and other top-notch medical students who were coming straight out of med school, where they had been stars, all of them. And I was 3 years out of med school, where I've been living this creative, kind of more freeform bohemian lifestyle in the mountains and traveling around in Peru and whatnot. So it was a very huge adjustment, and I was also quite behind in my knowledge base because I'd forgotten a lot of little details. So I had a lot of catching up to do, and it was a very difficult transition. And after a couple of months, I realized I was just overwhelmed again, kind of like in pediatrics, and I just wasn't sure that I had the motivation to do this difficult work. It just really wasn't where my heart was. You know, it's just very hard to put yourself through something extremely grueling like that if your heart isn't in it. So I just had a lot of soul searching and difficult times. It was really the most difficult year of my life, where I really had to decide, am I going to quit again and be done with medicine for good, or am I going to honor the part of me that brought me here, and also honor these people who believed in me and gave me a position at this, you know, competitive program where they chose me over other good students to be their resident. Am I going to follow through on that and really try to commit and try to get myself to be there as much as I could in my heart, so that I could do the work? And I made the decision to stay, to try to be there, to try to honor my decision and theirs. And it was very hard, and I still don't think I lived up to their expectations and hopes for me, but I did try, and I applied myself. I studied every night, I worked all day. We were working like 80 hours a week. Every 4th night I was working 30 hours in a row, staying at the hospital. It was very grueling, very rough, and I had to apply my holistic knowledge. I was doing yoga every morning at like 5 a.m., you know, in my house before I went to work. I would do yoga and breathing, Kapalabhati, which is one of these yogic breathing techniques. I would do that when I was on call. I'd be doing yoga in my call room when I had a few minutes. taking lots of herbs. I walked around with a thermos of Tulsi tea, which is one of my favorite anti-stress herbs that really helped me. That really saved me. That really got me through residency. But I also took tons of vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and other adaptogens, which are like stress modulating herbs. So about midway through the year, I was realizing that there were some patient encounters that I actually really was enjoying and that I was actually especially good at. And those were the psychiatry type clients. So this was a family medicine internship. So I saw lots of people in the clinic who had depression and anxiety and stress and relationship issues and grief and various different things like that. So I found that I was like orienting towards those patients preferentially and was getting more fulfillment out of talking to them and helping them, and it just felt more natural. So I ultimately decided I needed to transfer to a psychiatry residency. So I finished the full first year and got a great overall training in general family medicine, which has really served me now that I do kind of general integrative medicine. So I switched after my first year into a psychiatry residency at the University of Arizona, which was the most holistic and open-minded residency I could find. Because Andrew Weil has been associated with the University of Arizona for many years, by even that time, for many years, just the University of Arizona has always been one of the most progressive university settings in the country, as far as I can see, at least medically. You know, they're used to having him there. Back when I was in med school, Andrew Weil had a clinic, and I actually applied for a position to work with him as a med student, and it was very competitive, but I got it. So I worked with him for a month with 2 other students from various places around the country, and we worked directly with Andrew Weil in his clinic, seeing patients. So I got to spend some time at Canyon Ranch, and just blew my mind, the concept of working at a healing center as a doctor, because there's doctors there. And that just really inspired me that something more healing was possible with a medical degree. So I went to Tucson. It was a lot better fitting and ultimately easier for me than the other residencies had been. So I made it through, and I actually really liked part of it. I really loved the psychology training. We had excellent psychology training, and we got to see our own psychology patients starting in the 3rd year. So that was amazing and freeing, and I think I really got to help some people with some of my ideas, and I got to take what I was learning and add in what I already knew as well. So that was amazing. Gave me hope that yes, I could do something with this. So when I graduated, I opened a 5-room healing center in Tucson, Arizona. It was called Mystic Mandala Medicine. Mandalas are a circular design that draw you into the center, and they're really symbolic of the journey of awakening and self-realization, kind of spiritual growth. So I thought that's perfect for me and for my business and what I ultimately want to offer people. Mystic Mandala Medicine was 5 rooms. I did energy work, sound healing, there were yoga classes, community events, a women's group. I had, in the back room, I had a therapy room. We had some special events. We had like some Chinese medicine talks and, you know, people visiting who would come and have events there. But after 3 years, I started to get a bit restless. So I ultimately decided, you know, I think I want to do something different. And I was really feeling a call in my heart to work more closely with people in nature. And that part of my destiny does involve some sort of healing center. That's one reason why Canyon Ranch appealed so much to me, and the Chopra Center, which comes later in my story. But yeah, so I felt like I want to move to Hawaii and try to do sessions with people in nature and do some research to see if there's some land I could possibly have a clinic on, or work with some other people, or work with an already existing center, or, you know, find some place that I might be able to get some investors or something to create a center. Amazing. I lived on a 7-acre botanical garden on Kauai, And after that, I lived in an orchard on the Big Island. And after that, I lived just one house from the beach on Maui, kind of like an oceanside surf shack. It wasn't really a shack, it was a cute cottage. I also developed my astrology practice then. So I'd been studying astrology since med school. So I'd been studying astrology about 10 or 12 years at that point. And I'd already been doing readings with my existing patients in my psychotherapy sessions, but I hadn't been doing full standalone readings. So in Hawaii, people who are my clients were getting readings, my psychotherapy clients were getting readings and telling their significant others or friends or whatever that they were getting these great readings from me. So people started calling me who I didn't already know, asking for these, standalone readings. So I started doing them, and I started this kind of separate business just to do astrology. And that really started thriving. So then I got this feeling. So one of the great gifts that I took away from Hawaii was my astrology business. So I was feeling this sense that there was something more for me to do with my career, and that it was probably in California. So I moved back to the mainland, and I spent the next couple of years traveling around California and all these different places trying to feel it out. Like, where is something going to happen? And I was waiting for like magic and synchronicities to sort of let me know where to stop. When none of these places were totally clicking, I decided I'm going to go back to Telluride, Colorado, see if that will work for me while I wait to see if this California thing is going to happen maybe later. So I went to Telluride, and I started a little local practice, and I got in touch with the Peak Spa, which is a local spa, really like a 5-star spa that's owned by the Telluride Ski Resort. And I got connected with their spa director, and I got on their spa menu to do tarot readings, astrology readings, combined tarot and astrology readings, and integrative medicine consults. It's amazing. I was about halfway into that experience where I started to I really got the strong intuition to contact the Chopra Center in California. I already knew about it. I'd actually visited there before on a vacation. I didn't do one of their programs, but I knew about it because I'd read Deepak's book in medical school, and he talks about the Chopra Center, and like I said, I visited there when I lived in Tucson, and I just wanted to see it and feel it, and I was considering wanting to work there back then. So I wrote to the medical director and introduced myself and explained some of my different skills and perspectives and my experience with the ashram and with Ayurveda and my other experiences too, being an artist and just having a very eclectic path. And did they want a psychiatrist on their staff? And turns out they did. And she'd been looking for one for a while and hadn't found the right fit. So at the end of the ski season, I moved out to San Diego and started working at the Chopra Center. So this was 2017. So I worked at the Chopra Center for 2.5 years. It was the best job I could ever imagine. I loved it so much. I learned so much more about Ayurveda than I already knew. I started working as an astrologer there also, which wasn't why they hired me. They hired me to be a psychiatrist, but then they ended up hiring me to be a general Ayurvedic doctor as well, and see the general clients. So after 2.5 years, the Chopra Center unfortunately closed. Deepak decided that he's getting older and he really wants to think about his legacy and focus really on online programs, because that seems to really be the way the future is going. So he wanted to develop his online platform more and focus on big events and writing. So it was just, a logistic loose end really in some ways, even though it was an amazing center, and it was kind of like healing summer camp. And I've always loved camp, and I was a camp counselor when I was younger, so it really was a super special experience that I one day hope to replicate in some form. I want my own healing summer camp, but more in nature, because the Chopra Center was at a hotel. It was a beautiful setting, but it was at a resort. So I'd really like a healing center in nature and more emphasis on arts and athletics and, you know, exploring in nature, combined with the Ayurveda, the yoga, the meditation, and the kind of spiritual teachings that were at the Chopra Center. So if we could put those two together, that would be perfect for me. So that's my big goal. And in order to achieve my big goal, I want to reach more people and help more people with my ideas. So that leads us back again to why I'm doing a vlog. And I'm also working on several books. So after the Chopra Center closed, I started doing articles for the new Chopra website and blog, and that got me into really a regular pattern of writing. It's been great practice for me, and ultimately I've joined their writing staff, so now I write one scheduled article per month, and like I said, it's kind of helped develop my practice and consistency with writing, so I've loved that. And yeah, it's built up my comfort for writing. So hopefully, basically during the past few months, I have started a book on using astrology to help people find their soul purpose and shine as brightly as possible, which is really one of my key missions as I see it in life, as I mentioned earlier. So yeah, that's what I think my first book is going to be about. I also am a poet, and I have tons of poetry on my computer. Some of it is possibly good. So, and I also, you know, as an artist, I've started illustrating my poems and creating almost what could be like an illustrated poetry book, which could be cool, although wouldn't maybe have as big of an audience. So, all right, so that about wraps up the background portion. And yeah, if you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram and say hi and connect. Hope you guys have a great day wherever you are and whenever you're listening to this.